Now, I get to do a demo. I am hoping that I haven't put everyone to sleep by going through all of this. And yea, verily, I am going to vanquish the varlet with a bare bodkin by showing it to you in person. Is that okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. All right, guys. So I'm going to walk through this rather quickly now so that I've got 10 minutes to sort of wrap this thing up for you. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you my underlying infrastructure. So I don't know if you know what Mirantis does, but we provide infrastructure as a service. This one happens to be OpenStack is the framework. This is my own personal account in this thing, and I've created a whole bunch of nodes to host things on. And you notice this UCP header in the front of it for some of them. Well, that's because I'm actually using Universal Control Plane, which is the Docker side of our house, to accomplish this. You'll notice that the OpenStack framework itself has to have performance measurements to it. This is part of what we do, as well as provide all of this observational at the operational level for it. But the key point of that is that we want to access the universal control plane of Docker to have created. Oh, and I'm showing the last part first. That's terrible. I was going to say these are my shared resources. These are my nodes. And those are the same as these. You get the idea. And within that, I've created a Kubernetes cluster that has all these namespaces, one of which is called Bookinfo, and one is Istio System. And within the Bookinfo realm, I've created an ingress, which is the Istio Mesh Gateway for Bookinfo. Now, what does Bookinfo do? Well, Bookinfo helps me to run book information that captures the data of how people feel about Shakespeare's plays. This one happens to be Comedy of Errors. It's a very funny play. In most of Shakespeare, somebody dies. In Comedy of Errors, nobody dies. And people recorded their feelings about that with black stars and red stars. And some people didn't like the stars at all, so they haven't recorded anything yet. Black stars, red stars, no stars, black stars, red stars, no stars, to keep track of what's going on with this Comedy of Errors play. Actually, I'm kidding. What's really happening there is I'm capturing what's going on in a service mesh. And you see this here? Those are the clicks I just did. And this was the status of how they went through the entire Bookinfo application service layer to get there. And if I want, I can actually trace what's going on inside of that service mesh. So that now you'll see it goes from the Istio gateway up the way through, and notice it stops here. This one's red stars. This one's blue star or black stars. That one's no stars. Why is that no stars? Well, because I've created a circuit breaker pattern that says if it's broken, don't let it go to the ratings, because that will cause a cascading failure in my application service. So stop here, don't go any further. But sometimes you actually have to trace more deeply than just how things are going and give me inputs and outputs. That's when I use things like Jaeger. Jaeger provides a set of captures of hotspots, those clicks, like the ones I just did, which were these. And if I need to, I can break down, oh, I had one warning there. What was going on? Oh, the spanner ID skipped clock skew adjustment. So it couldn't get from one point to the other fast enough. This one's a little more interesting. So this gives you all of the input and output information and which IP address and everything else. Now, why would I use that? Because I need to know how fast it goes from here to here to here to here so that I could do changes, introduce changes that would improve that. Then I can look at how the mesh itself is handling that change in multiple different ways, from the workloads itself, like this, to all of these other performance metrics that I can keep track of, so that I can improve it here while it's being hosted on here.